puts case in point will be Romans 12, where it says, verses 1 and 2, I'm paraphrasing, it says, renew your mind, present your bodies living sacrifice, and then renew your mind. So there is what to do with your spirit, there's what to do with your mind. Like I said, if you have limiting beliefs, case in point, the children of Israel were brought out of Egypt, but Egypt was never brought out of them. It's a mind frame issue. So even in the desert, their minds kept going back. They couldn't see themselves as better than slaves and all of that. It's very hard to sell a vision to people who haven't seen otherwise. And I think it is underestimated, the power, for instance, of growing up in a wholesome family where you saw your dad love his wife consistently for years, where you never saw him hit her, or you never saw her hurl insults at him, and you never saw all of that. A lot of people don't understand the kind of emotional stability. A girl who grew up in a household where her dad loved her and was present, that's not a girl you can throw sweets at on the streets and then she will fall, back to the ground. Exactly. So those are the kind of things that we're trying to deal with. Not just the spiritual exercise part of it, but using the word of God as logos, as logic, to create principles and patterns that can be repeated and that can transform your life in the long term. Yeah.
So let's talk about this trauma that is prevalent with youth. The church is a place where some of these people go and find the most peace, while for others, they have their fair share of trauma there. And I'm speaking to the growing rape allegations we hear happen in churches. I don't know where you stand on that, what you would say to the youths, to the pastors. And then I think there's also this a game where, it's not a game now for the lack of better word, you calling out someone that's done something to you at the church, but withholding that person's name. Where do you stand on that? Do you think those people should actually call the name so that,
I think that when it comes to serious issues like rape, verifiable essay allegations, I think that criminal issues should be dealt, treated like criminal issues, So it's different from every other thing. In fact, the moment it's a criminal issue, it's no longer a pastoral matter. The right authorities should take it up from there. Yes, and the truth is, and that's part of what I was saying earlier, the church is not a bubble, it's a reflection of society. It's the same people in society that are coming to church. And unfortunately, even though churches are saddled with immense responsibility, the reality is that a lot of people come to church too late. And it's just the same way in a hospital. There's some people who are dead on arrival, there's some people who, we hear it all the time. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult your doctor. Exactly. So a lot of pastors have to do the work both of pastors and of parents, because you see people who were never really parented well, and then you have to start afresh and teach them things that you shouldn't have to have taught them. So it's not just something that happens in religious settings, even though the shock value is higher there, but it's a reflection of something that happens everywhere. And I don't think it's even more in religious institutions. Like I said, the shock value is more there, but it's an issue plaguing our society.
Now let's go back to film production. We don't have a lot of faith-based movies in Nigeria. I'm wondering why. You're a pastor and you're into this business. How come you're not putting films together that are completely Christian, so to say?
So first and foremost, my wife is also a movie maker, and my wife has movies that are completely Christian. And like I said, it's just when Jesus comes on the scene, And he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking goodly pearls.